What's up, guys? It is Sunday, the 29th of October, and let's review the week that we just had. Now, of course, we'll start off with the big headlines of the week, which were Amazon and Google having some massive moves on earnings. So, Amazon up 13% on the gap here after great earnings, and Google strong as well after beating their announcement. However, quite the fade on Google. So, two big tech names. They had two huge moves after earnings, and of course, as a result, the Qs had a hell of a Friday as well. So, what I'm looking for the coming week is that I believe on Thursday, or it's the second, whatever day that is, I believe, we have numerous names reporting this week. So Apple is reporting this coming week, and they had a good day on the tech move. Facebook is also set to announce their earnings this week. Again, another good move, as is Tesla. Now, Tesla a little weak. Here's my prediction on Tesla. I predict that they fall after earnings. Fun stock to trade at times. The cars are pretty cool, but in all reality, they kind of suck as a business. They burn through cash. They go and buy companies that burn through cash. They're not profitable. They're going to be very delayed in terms of production on these cars. They're going to be backed up big time. And just to meet the demand, to build the cars that are, being requested by consumers, they're going to have to go out and raise a lot of cash, aka go into further debt to, open, facilities, hire new employees, experience, whatever it may be. So, my guess on Tesla is that they're going to fall after earnings. I just don't think that the short-term future is looking that great for the company, but I'm not a financial analyst, so who really cares whether or not I'm right? Go over a few of my trades this week. I made a quick $60 on Lear. Got a great entry, but a big fade the next day. However, this trade in LEA was important because it funded what ended up turning to be, a $3,000 profit in First Solar. So, this is my thought process, guys, just to walk you through it. First Solar was set to announce earnings on Friday, and as you can see, up 20% after the announcement. They had a great day. What I did on Thursday was I invested about $890 in options calls into First Solar, right before the close. So, right before basically the announcement, which came, after the close on Thursday. It's not always, you don't want to treat trading like gambling. So I wouldn't suggest that you guys, start to implement this as a strategy, because it's really not a strategy. However, the way that I manage my risk, for this bet here was, strategic. So I was willing to risk just about $900 on this trade. The reason being is that because heading into Friday, I had about a $400 profit built up in LEA. Now, that ended up fading, and I closed that, for some peanuts, but still, it's important to note that, because risking $900 in First Solar going into Friday with about $400, dollars of profit in LEA, at the open, as I stood, I had $400 of cushion in one trade, risking $900 on First Solar. So theoretically, if First Solar shit the bed, I would have lost that $900, and theoretically, if LEA held up, that could have, potentially offset half of that loss. So that's kind of how I saw it. I was really risking, $500-$600, and guys, it turned out perfectly. We opened up strong here, opened up about 10% or so, and the stock just continued to climb throughout the day. And I closed, half at one point for about $1,600, and then I closed the other half of the position for, another 15 or so. So, all in all, this trade turned $880 into a $3,042 profit in like an hour and a half. That was basically the time that I was in the trade. So, that's pretty cool. That was a pretty fun day. A nice way to finish the week and head into the weekend with a nice, quick $3,000 profit. Again, this isn't really a strategy, guys. Yes, some luck came into this. Now, I have done some research on this company. I knew that there was a few things, in the works that they've been working on that were kind of going to, up the forward guidance for the company's performance. But again, not something I suggest you guys do. to be completely transparent, I could have lost a full, $900 on this if it, gapped down on earnings, and I would have slept fine. So you got to keep that in mind. Are you willing to lose $900 and be okay with it? For some of you, I'm sure you are, and for many of you, I'm sure that would be a pretty shitty situation. But thankfully, it ended up working for me. So, that was pretty cool. Now this week, as I mentioned, we got Apple, Facebook, I believe Nvidia, and Tesla earnings on deck. We also have lumber liquidators. Again, guys, I don't want you to start going crazy on the earnings trades, but, just understand, if stock has, earnings on, Monday after the close, towards the close on Monday, if you're just looking, for some fun and, kind of a flip of the coin, buy a few $100s worth of, at the money options calls. Be honest with yourself. If you're willing to lose that, if you are, it can be pretty fun. You risk 100 to potentially make, 3 to 400. That's cool. So, LL is a nice tight squeeze going into earnings. What does that tell me? Big money really hasn't been dumping shares. Now that is not a guarantee that the stock is going to go up higher after earnings, but if you're looking for a bet, a few $100, that's the kind of thing I look for. This is very similar to the First Solar. Again, Yelp, same thing. Nice and steady going into their earnings announcement, which is this week. So maybe I'll bet, a few $100s on those and see what happens. But again, the key is that I really don't give a shit if I lose that few $100 on either of those trades. You guys can't be doing that if, that few $100s is meaningful to your portfolio. So that's one thing to keep in mind, guys. I still like LEA heading into next week. Good looking squeeze here on the daily. A little sloppy on the 195, but I have found success with, a move that tries once, fails, and finds quick support, and comes back again to test that squeeze. Those can often work pretty well. GM, nice tight squeeze here. Found support right at the bottom of the 195 squeeze. So I'm going to monitor that one for a potential addition to that position. And let's go through some names real quick of what I'm looking for the coming week. So I still like Juno. I'm kind of all set with the bio names, but really can ignore that nice tight squeeze. Volume steadily, increasing here on the 195. We did try this trade. Didn't work out the first time, but doesn't mean we can't go back and try again. ADNT, nice squeeze on both the 195 and the daily, so that's kind of a bonus. 2 bars of selling here. Quickly found some support, so you guys know me. I'm going to be looking to, get in on the next bar that shows, a big increase in buying volume before the breakout when everybody else buys. So, going to watch that. As I mentioned before, we're going to watch LEA. Century Aluminum, not the best looking setup, but just kind of interesting, Got sold off pretty decently here. And I'm starting to notice, kind of like some pukage here. That could be, the end of it. And a little bit of buying coming in. So not a trade I'll necessarily rush into, but one to monitor for sure. FENG, not something I'm going to go super heavy on, but a decent enough looking squeeze to at least, keep in the back of our pockets here for the coming week. FGen, starting to get some accumulation, not quite a surge in volume, but nice little move here, nice little tightened action, so we'll see what happens with that one. Meritor, MTOR, very tight squeeze on the daily. Flip over to our 195. Super dry, guys, so, in that first bump of real volume, this stock, could make a nice little move into this squeeze. Watch that one. NAV, not crazy, but worth monitoring. MTW, got a short-term squeeze here on the daily. Increasing volume, so, not really a handful of superb setups at the moment, but, with low risk, smaller position size, we could eke out, some decent gains here in some of these names, like Bizun. Yelp, again, they're set to announce earnings. Possible coin flip trade there. Halo, nice looking squeeze on both the daily and the 195. What the fuck's that? Not sure why that's in there. We have Boeing in the beginning of a squeeze, I believe. Let me see. Yep, so beginning of a squeeze for Boeing. A lot of selling, so probably going to watch that one for a while, see what can happen there. This one right here, nice gap up and the pause, so if that volume comes back in, could continue, a nice upward trend. Keep in mind, guys, biotech, be careful. And another biotech, Nectar. On second glance, I really don't like that too much, so gonna get rid of that one. And a few more names to run through briefly here, guys. LL, which of course coming up on earnings this week. PBF, which is PBF Energy. Nice looking squeeze here, guys. That daily volume is starting to increase, so hopefully with any luck this doesn't rocket off on Monday or Tuesday and I can sneak in a position, but it will be a breakout trade, so I won't go with my typical full size. KOS, another energy one. I like this one a lot. Look at that big time volume on the daily chart. The stock really hasn't moved in conjunction with that demand yet. Still plenty of time. This is a smaller price stock. I've seen this, plenty of times before. This could easily just rocket up to, $9 or so. That'd be a huge move on the options. So KOS is definitely at the top of my list. Radnet, nice squeeze here. Looks like it found some support. Nice bar here on Friday. So one to monitor, nothing crazy. Sterling Construction, nice tight 195 squeeze. Kind of a sloppy squeeze in the daily. InvestNet, decent looking squeeze on the 195. Looks like, the volume as a whole has been increasing steadily, so I'll continue to monitor that. Micron, nice tech name, guys. Nice squeeze. Not the best looking, but a few $100 in there won't hurt. CVR, INOV, HDP, and I'm just going to run through these. You guys can pause it if you like it. Holy Frontier, we saw GM, we got TTD here. Decent looking 195 squeeze, and another one of my favorites for this week, along with KOS, is going to be ANET. This is just super tight. It looks like it really wants to go up here and test 200, so I'll be looking to sneak in a quick position for a possible move towards 200 and see if it can run. So that is that, guys. It was a pretty, wishy-washy week up until Friday, where, things fell in my favor with First Solar. And, pretty cool, guys. You turned $900 into a $3,000 profit. That's really cool, and I don't get too excited over profits just because, I got some super big goals, The goal I'm working towards right now is to, have an average of, $10,000 to $20,000 of profits a week. Realistically, and to be transparent, when I reach that point, guys, it's just reality that most of my dreams at that point would, I'll be in a position to make most of my dreams at that point, come to fruition, and you guys know me. That's, I want to build a home, on my family's property for my girlfriend and I, want to get engaged, have kids, all that crazy shit. Toys, whatever it may be, but really is just freedom. And the ability to inspire others. Those kind of are at the top of my list. A car and things like that come afterwards. I want freedom, and I want to be able to just, motivate others and kind of show you guys what's possible. So that's probably when I'll start to get, excited about trading profits, is when I'm falling in that, $10,000 to $20,000 a week, profits, because that is pretty crazy. But even still, it is good to step back and remain humble and, look at the things you accomplish, In about an hour and a half of actual trading, I turned, $900 into a $3,000 profit. Did I get lucky on the earnings? Yes, of course. But, you guys got to keep in mind that, 3-4 years ago, I was working at a local gym and making about $150 bi-weekly. So that's $300 a month, guys. In other words, it would have taken 10 months for me to make what I made here in an hour and a half. And that's incredibly humbling. Just pretty insane. So I need to do a little bit of a better job of kind of stepping back and seeing how far I have come versus being so hell-bent on, where I'm going. But, I was born to be what I'm going to be, so got to stay focused. I got a video coming out to you guys later this evening, and we're going to touch on our 2018 trading challenge. Now, this challenge is open to all of you members and, of course, to anyone who's going to consider joining our team. But really what it is, I want to get a group of guys, traders together collectively. I would like to, have a Skype session, with our 2018 group once a week, and I want us to all just set some pretty big trading goals and to hold ourselves accountable week after week. And there's a few things that it's going to take for to reach a big trading goal. So a brief description of my goal is I plan to turn, or my goal is to turn $30,000 into over $300,000 over the next 12 months. I'm going November to November of 2018. What is that going to require? A handful of things. First thing it's going to require is discipline. Discipline to stick to my strategy and to not waver and, try other things out. I need to stay disciplined, and I need to stick to what works for me. The second thing it's going to really require is an extreme amount of patience. To turn 30 into 300 means I'm going to have to be willing and able to take big size positions on the trades that truly matter. So what I need to do to put myself in the best position to be able to do that is to avoid taking big losses on subpar opportunities. So, part of my plan is to take, smaller to, average size, positions on any trade that I don't feel is, potential to make, a 500 to 1,000% return. A great example of a trade that, with this mindset, I'd be willing to bet, $5,000 to $10,000 on would have been something like Google coming out of this squeeze. In hindsight, this is the perfect opportunity. Big name stock, nice tight squeeze, volume increasing steadily the whole way, and that could have been a majority of what what I'm looking for in terms of taking that 30 to 3. Smaller kind of setups, things that don't have as much potential. I don't want to risk as much. What I've been doing lately is kind of risking anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 on each trade. That's going to stop in the next coming months. I'm going to risk less on lesser opportunities and risk more on the true meaty opportunities, such as something like this. So those are just a few of the things that, are going to be required for me to meet this goal. Now, keep in mind, this is a huge goal, guys. That's 1,000% return over the course of 12 months. The only person that I know who has consistently done this, year after year, is John Carter. So, just to even, say you want to be in that same company is pretty crazy, but, it's going to hold me accountable throughout the year. Putting myself out here, being transparent with this goal with you guys is going to hold me accountable all year long. And, even if I come up short, I think that, the lessons I learn and, and the discipline that I gain over the next 12 months is just going to shape me to become an even better trader and, and to create, to make my dreams come true over the years. But my goal is to take 30 to 300,000, and I'm ready to get it. So, more information on that coming, guys. Been a pretty lengthy video, but I appreciate you watching, and let's get some rest and get ready for tomorrow. Got a lot coming up this week, some big name earnings. Let's get ready to kill it, guys.